Good evening and welcome, very warm welcome to the OZCRO Soccer Show. Wow. Despite the result, it certainly makes all the hairs on the end of your skin stand up straight, that's for sure. My name is Tonchi Prusats. I'm your co-host for tonight's episode. Very special Euro 2024 episode of the OZCRO Soccer Show, and it is going to be truly an international one tonight. We've got live crosses all over, not just the country, but the planet tonight. And, we're first of all going to go over across the border into South Australia, and we're going to welcome tonight's co-host, very, very special co-host, Mr. Stephen Shkorniak, looking rather resplendent in your Kotske there tonight. How are you, Steve?
How you going, Tonchi? Good night to everyone. Hold your heads up, people. We've been in worse positions. We'll come back. We know what this team can do. We can do nothing but be proud of them, but it's going to be a good night. Looking forward to it, Tonchi.
Mate, I'll tell you what, we've got an action-packed show tonight. We're going to be catching up with Damien Bresic, Damage from Gold Coast. He's a member of the board of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. He'll be coming on with all the latest news from the Savas, but also he'll be giving us his expert tips on what went wrong with the Croatia-Spain game and what Croatia needs to do with regards to the Albania clash. Now, we've got some late-breaking news in the last hour. News has broken that Nikola Vlasic is out of the Croatian squad. He has been injured at training, and unfortunately, he will not be taking part in the remainder of the tournament. Unfortunately, does that mean there's going to be a last-minute replacement for him in the squad or not? It's a 26-man squad as it is. So that's late-breaking news. But, mate, apart from that, Steve, we're going to be crossing, first of all, to Croatia and then to Germany, and we'll be catching up with two Australian-Croatian families who are over in Europe at the moment, enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying the colour, the festivities. And, mate, we're confident starting tomorrow night, those thousands and thousands of Croatians in Germany and in Croatia and indeed in Australia will have something to celebrate, hey?
Yeah, I hope so. Only just over 24 hours. Nothing like getting a bit of redemption. So, poor start, but hey, we've been there before. Been there, done that. Like I said last week, and experienced in these tournaments now. So, looking forward to tomorrow's game.
Yeah, it should be a beauty. Now, just to get everyone excited, there's this little graphic that's been doing the rounds on the internet. Now, these are all Croatia's games in the second round of various tournaments, from the Euro Championships in 1996 all the way to the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. Guess what? We've never lost a game in the second round, folks. How good of an omen is that, Steffe?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, the results speak for themselves. It's when we need to get going, we need to get going. But unfortunately, no doomsday here. But it's just the Euros, like we said last week. It's just a tournament we could never get going in.
No,
even when we've had better sides and we've just never got going. So, let's see. I'm just very, very confident against Albania.
Yeah. Well, one step at a time. Albania first, and then Italy second, and then hopefully we'll have a good draw if we get through to the next round. Not if, when we get through the next round. But we'll be chatting to Damien Bresic very, very shortly. We've got the news desk that we normally do. And as we said, we'll be crossing to Zagreb, where Ante Grabovac, we're missing him already. Him and his family are in Zagreb. We'll be speaking to Ante. Now, where Ante's going to tune in from, Maksimir Stadium, Trgban Jelačić, or somewhere else, we do not know. We do not know. And also, they've just, as we speak, or in about 20 minutes' time, they will have reached Hamburg train station, Hauptbahnhof in Hamburg. From your neck of the woods, the Berkowitz family, Joe and Carmen, with their kids, kids, Tihomir and Tiana, I believe, is their name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know them very well. They're family friends of yours. They'll be joining us, and they are right in the epicenter of everything in Germany. They are in Berlin during the Croatia-Spain game. They'll be at the Hamburg, at the Croatia-Albania game as well. So we'll catch up with them, and Jesus, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be good. I can't wait to see Carmen. She was a bit hesitant yesterday when I contacted her, but yeah, by the time you got in contact with her, I think she was just raring to go. So she's an absolute barrel of laughs, Carmen. So it'd be great to see. So jealous of where they are.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I'll tell you what. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. Thanks to our main sponsors, Living Gems and Gem Life up on the Gold Coast. Big shout outs to Adrian Pulic and crew. After that, we've got the news desk, and then we'll be back very, very shortly.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26, but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old, with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Oh, Steve, we're going to start with the news desk. You've got all the winners, this week's winners. We had quite a fair few winners. You must be the good luck charm, I tell you what.
We have indeed. Just getting my... yeah, those who know me, technology is not my best bit. But, yeah, no, we got them all now. And, yeah, it's... well, you could probably say in 2 years now, the unstoppables of Croatian Australian soccer, Gold Coast Knights, Gold Coast Croatia,
Yeah.
of course, in their anniversary year. Big 2-1 winners are I think it's Rochdale. Rochdale, very, very, very strong team. So massive win yet again to Gold Coast Knights. Queensland, Brisbane Premier League. Uni of Queensland draw with Brisbane Knights. So Brisbane Croatia pulling off a 1-1 draw. Sydney Croatia away to Hills United. Good win. Never underestimate the opposition, and they didn't do that. 3-2. Hurstville Zagreb, sadly, what was it? How many games now undefeated? They had a good streak there, so they lost 2-1 to Granville Rage. Australian Capital Territory over in Canberra. We've got Canberra Croatia defeated Tuggeranong 3-0, and O'Connor Knights defeated Ugali 2-1 away from home.
Well, that's good. A clean sweep there in the nation's capital, hey?
It is brilliant. So I think that pulls Canberra Croatia up to, I think, both now in the top 4. So hopefully they stay there. And, yeah, just more results like that will keep them there. So over to the Victorian NPL. Dinamo St Albans 1-0 over Moorland. Massive win, Tonchi. I think you know a bit more about that. So
well, it was a must win. It was a must-win game. Basically, they had to win this. And what happened on the eve of this game, Steve? Moreland United, actually Avondale FC, who was second top, they got docked 3 points in their game against Moreland. So Moreland Moreland City ended up getting the 3 points. So it meant that they were on 10 points. Dinamo was on 7. If Moreland City had won, they would have been 6 points clear of Dinamo. Luckily, Dinamo won. It was 1-0. It was very tense, but in the end, Dinamo got the win. So they're on 10 points apiece. Manningham United are in third last spot with 11 points.
Yeah, they got the draw, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And Dinamo comes up against Manningham United in 2 weeks' time. So another crucial game that's going to be.
What was the 3 points for, Tonch?
They played an ineligible player. So believe it or not, Avondale, and they're aiming for the national second division. My goodness me, they got docked 3 points for fielding an ineligible player, and it just so happened to be against Moreland City. So, I reckon they'll plan. No, I wasn't. We're not going to say that. We're not going to insinuate that.
Don't have to, but the betting agencies might back you. Anyway, Melbourne Knights in the big Croatian derby. Dandenong 2, Melbourne Knights 5. So did you get to the game, Tonch? Or
No, I watched a little bit because there was a lot happening that day. You had North Geelong happening. You had the Dinamo game happening, and then the Melbourne Knights and Dandenong City game was all happening on the Saturday night. So I tell you what, the YouTube was getting a very, very good workover. That's for sure. Trying to keep abreast of everything that was going on. I had about 3 screens all happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, so did we when we saw the next result. North Geelong 2 lost to Melbourne Victory. Melbourne Victory Youth, they're in fact top of the table. And it wasn't. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a late strike, wasn't it? It was very late in the game. They got the winner, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. Look, they had their chances. North Geelong really, really could have had their chances. And there was a couple of very, very contentious decisions. If you'd like to see some of those highlights, go on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, which is our sister podcast, on the YouTube channel or the Facebook channel. And right at the start in the news desk, there is some extended highlights of some of those of that particular game. But yeah, there was a goal that was deemed offside after a throw-in. Ball basically came off the player that threw it, didn't touch anyone, and then the linesman deemed that it had touched one of the North Geelong players before. It was very controversial, but nonetheless, look, the way they played suggests that certainly the Warriors could be saved from relegation this year. But
that's just some of the luck you need. It doesn't matter how good a side you got. Sometimes it's just the rub of the green. Sometimes the ball bounces one way instead of the other, and it just looks like Geelong's. It's not bouncing for them, and they're not getting that luck. So, well.
Yeah, we'll have to get a move on. Moving along very quickly. So we've got the Glenorchy Knights.
Oh, Glenorchy Knights, they won. There was a 7-1 victory, so that leaves them up on top as well, isn't it? But I think South Hobart's got a game in hand, or have they played that one?
I think they're in second spot, and this week I do believe they've got the big game against South Hobart.
There you go.
So first versus second should be a cracker of a game, that one. And then finally, I think we've got Newcastle, Croatia defeated Mayfield United, believe it or not, with a forfeit. Mayfield didn't want to take the field, and the Northern New South Wales Football Federation, or whatever it's called these days, granted Newcastle, Croatia a 3-0 win. So they jump into second spot on the ladder there. We'll move along to the fixtures for this week, the home games. We've got a list there. Gold Coast Knights at home to Brisbane Olympic. Brisbane Knights at home to North Pine. Sydney United at home to St George. Then the big Croatian derby in Canberra on Saturday. O'Connor Knights at home to Canberra, Croatia. In Victoria, the Knights are at home to Moreland City on Friday night. They could do Dinamo a huge favour. And Dinamo on Sunday are at home to Hume City. 14th versus 8th. Tough game, but it's at Churchill Reserve. Anything can happen there. And then over in the West, Western Knights, who are in 5th position, they host Inglewood United in 6th position. Then we've got the away games, Steph. Would you like to go through those ones?
Yeah, we've got Hurstville Zagreb in third position. They've climbed up to third, playing Gladesville, top team. So a big derby there. Maybe we can get Mr. Chavar's big report on the game next week. Dandenong Thunder at home to Dandy City. So Dandy City, much needed 3 points there. Big tough game for Adelaide Croatia here, away to Adelaide City. Adelaide City started the season, won the first two, then they lost the next 6 in a row. But now they're back in some fine form. I think they've won their last 4 or 5, and Adelaide Croatia's had a horrendous last 3 weeks. But hopefully they can get a few more heads, a few more bodies back on the park. And the big top of the table clash in Tasmania, South Hobart and Glenorchy Knights. So hopefully a win there for Glenorchy.
Oops, my microphone was switched off. Okay, when we return, we're going to then have a look at what is happening in Croatia. So don't go away, folks.
EcoDuct is a Geelong-based business which manufactures an environmentally friendly low-profile duct system that is specifically designed for high-rise apartment applications where limited ceiling spaces are common. The innovative duct system is used to exhaust kitchen and bathroom ventilation, where there are limited ceiling spaces. The only Australian-made PVC duct supplier in the country, EcoDuct, has full control over its stock and has an unlimited supply to ensure all projects run smoothly. They are 30% cheaper than the imported products and are 100% Australian-made. Made from best environmental practices, their products are made of up to 50% recycled material and is 100% recyclable and compliant to all Australian standards. For more information, call EcoDuct now on 03 5278 5573. That's 03 5278 5573, or visit their website at ecoduct.com.au. EcoDuct are proud sponsors of the North Geelong Warriors Football Club.
Welcome back to the OZCRO Soccer Show. Now, I'm not too sure. Are we having some technical issues? But if you are tuning in, do pop something in the chat section for whatever reason. It seems that we're having some sort of internet issues, and I'm not too sure if it's from my end. But nonetheless, we'll keep plugging along, and we'll try and see if we can rectify that. But Steph, in Croatia, lots been happening. I tell you what, they've had the recent. What do you call them? The qualifiers for the to fill up the lower league, so to speak. And we've got a little bit of footage happening here. And this is Zadar and Segesta. Now, the winner of this went into the third tier competition, which is the League 2 competition. Zadar, look at the crowd. Now, this is in Zadar. There was quite a few, I think several thousand fans. And Zadar being an Premier League side, and Segesta as well once upon a time. Look, there is an Australian-Croatian connection with NK Zadar, or HNK Zadar, a Sydney consortium led by Sydney United president Mark Ivancic has taken over Zadar, and certainly they've had a real fall from grace. Now, they went into this the second leg of this game. Look at the crowd. 2-1 down after Segesta won 2-1 in Sisak. This game finished 2-1 for Zadar, with the goal coming in the 94th minute. What that meant was, went down to penalties, the most cruelest way to decide a winner. And in the end, what happened was Segesta prevailed, so they now will enter the next year's League 2, or Liga 2, Druga Liga, which is like the second tier. So now that all of the teams have been sorted, there we have the hierarchy of the professional leagues in Croatia. The HNL Premier League will see Šibenik promoted. Rudeš has been relegated to the Prva Liga or League One. Opatija comes up from the Druga Liga into Prva Liga. And Solin goes from the Prva Liga to the Druga Liga. Confused? It's all there on the screen. And the two new clubs that will be entering the third tier competition, Segesta Sisak, as we mentioned, and Uljanik Pula as well. Now, Croatians are world champions in something. Guess what? In futsal, at the World University Futsal Championships in China during the week, Brazil came up against the might of the Croatian University futsal team, and it was the Croatians that prevailed 4-1. That means, and I've said it in past shows, Steve, I love futsal. I absolutely love futsal. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And in Croatia, futsal is fast becoming the number one indoor sport, overtaking basketball, overtaking water polo, overtaking rukomet even, which Croatia is very, very traditionally very strong, and it's a very popular sport. But futsal, they've qualified for the World Futsal Championships or the World Cup of Futsal later this year for the first time since 2002. And now we've got a world champion in the university games. So there you go. Just takes me back to my university days. What about yourself?
No uni here, but I do believe futsal is the second biggest growing sport just behind women's football. So it's just massive, and it's a good grounding for the outdoor players as well. So it's just fantastic. But anyway, you see the red and white checkers winning something is fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it?
Just another sense of pride.
Yeah. Now, before we go on, we've got our first guest ready to come on very, very shortly, Damien Brešić from the Gold Coast, and he'll be coming on very shortly. Nick, a big announcement, Dynamo TV, which is produced by Community Sports Media Services, the same mob that produces this. Major announcement, Dynamo TV will not be going to air on Thursday. Rather, it will be going on tomorrow night. So the official podcast of the St Albans Dynamo Football Club that will be going on tomorrow night in view of the Croatia-Albania game tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. There is also going to be, hopefully, a very, very special guest from Croatia. Now, speaking of special guests from Croatia, we hope to link up with the Grabovacas very, very shortly, if we're lucky. In the meantime, we're going to try and go to the Gold Coast, where we're going to catch up with Damien Brešić. But before we do that, Steve, Adelaide, Croatia, Adelaide Raiders, what's been going on there? They've lost the last 3 games in a row against lowly opposition.
Yeah, it's just it's just the rub of the green, the bodies, the injuries. It's no excuse. It's just, you hit form, you lose that rhythm. They had a great rhythm. I think they were sitting third or fourth, challenging. They've beaten Adelaide United Youth. They've beaten Comets, who were sitting top. Strong performance against, they drew against Metro Stars, who were top, and they've, lost 4-3 to them at home. So got some absolutely fantastic results. Is it complacency or is it just injuries? I think it's a bit of both, but I think just more, you're just running out of luck, and injuries are catching up. So
yeah.
Vlada's doing everything he possibly can, but I think he'd just be relieved to get some more experienced bodies back on the park.
Yeah, it's really tough, isn't it? Especially when you have younger players, that inconsistency. But also now it's the middle of the season, and if the squads aren't that, we don't have big enough squads, and we just don't seem to be able to have that, it becomes really, really tough, doesn't it, Steve?
This is where you start getting found out if you haven't got a deep squad, and if you don't want deep pockets, and the club's just over, having the deep pockets. It's giving the kids a go, and what are you going to put a coach there for if you're going to just keep signing experienced players? So, with all due respect to Vlada, he's tried everything. He hasn't given up. He's too good to do that. But even last week, you have the young Campbell, probably our most informed midfielder, gets sent off in the 90th minute. So, that sucks. He missed the whole game. So he'll come back now, and hopefully he can get some more bodies back. But there's there's no loss of faith. No loss of faith. You know, people are doom and gloom. Yeah, you've lost a few games, big deal. Still 8, 9, 10 games to go. A lot of time, a lot of game time left in the season.
Very true. Very much so is the case. We're going to take a very short break, folks. When we return, we're going to be speaking to the man himself from the Gold Coast, Damien Bresic, who's a member of the board of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. Folks, don't go away. It is the OZCRO Soccer Show. OZCRO Imports brings you the finest taste of Croatian beer, spirits and wine. Let your taste buds feel the years of nurtured produce and years of experience in producing some of the best beer and wines from Croatia. Established over 10 years ago and importing various wines, spirits and beers from Croatia, we stock the following products: OZCRO Pivo, Staro Češko and Velebitsko beers, all naturally crafted brews. We carry a wide range of shortcut spirits, which is renowned for top quality and has won numerous awards for its traditionally produced spirits. Some of these include Šljiva, Biljamovka, Kajsije, Višnja, Orahovac and Medovača. We also have wines ranging from the Ilok region in Slavonia, Belje wines from the Danube region, Malvazija from Istra, and the Palihnic branded Plavac Mali and Poship wines from the Dalmatian coast. Our mission is simple: to ensure that quality, unique and reasonably priced Croatian goods can be enjoyed right here in Australia. We also cater for special gift packs for customers, be they birthdays, christenings, weddings, etc. It's easy to order online, or you can telephone us to arrange a special package. Visit our website at www.ozcro.com.au, like our Facebook page OZCRO Imports, or you can contact us by calling 0419 44 55 18 or email sales@ozcro.com.au. Welcome back to the OZCRO Soccer Show. Steve, it's time now for our first guest, and it's a pleasure to welcome back to the show. We've had him early in the year, Damien Bresic from the Gold Coast. Damien, good evening and how are you?
Good, thanks, gents. Always a pleasure. Hello, Mr. Škornjak.
Poštovanje, gospon Brešić.
Always a pleasure, gents. Thank you for having me.
No, like I said, it's always a pleasure having you on. Damien, let's talk about the Savez. Let's talk about the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia first, mate. We know the president has headed off overseas. I do believe it's all personal. He's got a couple of weddings, and the family's gone over there for a well-deserved holiday. But is he maybe doing a little bit of Savez reconnaissance over there whilst he's in Lijepa Naša?
Well, you know what Jura's like. He can't help himself. So I'm sure he'll make contact with the Savez over there and try and put to bed their clinics for early next year. So Jura never sleeps. I think he's a very big asset for us to have. So I wish he has a good time there, but also do a little bit of work, not too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hopefully, he gets a chance to have a little bit of a R&R. And I guess, look, if he knocks on the door of the Croatian Football Federation over there, he'll find no one there. Maybe the cleaners, they're all over there in Germany at the moment, aren't they?
And hopefully they don't have to come back too soon as well. So we'll see how we go in the next couple of days.
Correct. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But what is happening at the Savez? I guess we talked about the diaspora camp that was held earlier this year, and actually let's talk about that. One of the shining lights, I believe, from that is a young fella from Melbourne, Jordan Vornja, who was on the camp, and he was in Croatia recently, made the press and everything. He was trialing, I think, at Hajduk Split or training there. But that in itself is one positive thing, that some of our young kids are being noticed by clubs in Croatia.
It was his second trip to Vukovar. So he went on last year's tournament as well as this year, and he had a trial organised with Hajduk straight after the tournament. So him and his mum Tanya headed down to Split straight after we finished in Vukovar. Look, good little kid, good little player, a lot of talent, a lot of potential. So hopefully it's just the start of a lot of players giving that same opportunity who are at that age group with some Croatian heritage behind them. So again, like I said, when I was on last time live from Livno, it's a great initiative, not only by our Savez, but the Hrvatski Savez. So long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve.
No, that's all good. So, what are the plans for the next one? Will there be a next one, or is it too early?
Too early to confirm, but all indications are that Savas will be definitely back. Not much will change from next year. We've had a brief chat when we were there. I dare say, without wanting to be held to it 100%, they'll definitely be doing Sydney and Melbourne again. Perth only had about 31 players trial last year. So if we can get those numbers up a little bit, then they'll consider going back there. But at this stage, I'm 99% confident that we'll definitely be doing Melbourne and Sydney again. And then another squad will be picked out of that, and then head over to Vukovar in 25 for the 21st running of the tournament. So, yeah, look, the beauty of it is now our Savas clubs have jumped on board and supported it. So they've given us, I suppose, the right or the privilege to put some money into it. There has been an entry fee introduced into the tournament to cover some of that money. So it's great to see that, collectively the Savas members have all embraced this idea, and have spoken with our hard-earned money, or their hard-earned money, shall we say. So, look, onwards and upwards, and it's a great opportunity for our kids.
Yeah, and it seems to be a real tangible way of connecting the Croatian Football Federation in Croatia with the Croatian clubs here in Australia. And look, who knows, if this is just a small step, I guess, where it will grow, who knows where it might grow in 5 years, 10 years. We may have senior men's teams, senior women's teams, girls teams, who knows, but that one step at a time. Now, speaking about the tournament, it's had a date change this year, so it's come forward to the long weekend in Melbourne, but because it's the AFL Grand Final, but not elsewhere outside of Australia. How's that impacting on team registrations? And by the way, how's that going? When's the actual registration period open, I suppose?
Well, the registration period is open now. So as you said, the St Albans Dinamo asked for a vote to see if we can change the date. We got voted on, so it got passed unanimously by our clubs to support Dinamo's request, and the tournament's been moved to Thursday the 26th of September to Sunday the 29th, which is, like you said, Tonch, the long weekend or AFL weekend in Melbourne. We're not quite sure how it will impact nominations or team entries, only because a couple of clubs have indicated that it's their grand final that weekend as well. Not being the public holiday in New South Wales and Queensland and other areas, it's making that just a little bit harder for people to get down there. But nominations are open now. They close on the 1st of July. So to all the clubs out there listening, please get your nominations in. Then we can assess and see what we've got and do the draw and get the things running. So look, we've been speaking to Dinamo regularly. They're very keen, very enthusiastic to put on the biggest and the best tournament that we've seen to date. I think they're excited. It's the first time they're hosting a tournament since 2000, so it's been 24 years since we've been to St Albans. And it's only the third time in the last 16 years, I think, that we've been to Victoria. So for all you Victorians that keep saying you do things better, well, show us and come out and do it.
Yeah, that's right. The standard has been certainly shown in recent years by some of the tournaments interstate. So hopefully everything will go well this year. Stefan.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for our esteemed guest before we move on?
Oh, not on camera.
Yeah. And look, the other thing I need to sort of, I suppose, stress and mention as well is we'd like to try and make this, one of the biggest tournaments, because Savas is celebrating its 50th anniversary since inception. And I know there's been a little bit of conjecture about when it started, but the actual Hrvatski Savas of Australia was established in 1974.
Wow.
So Savas is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. So again, to try and to mark that milestone, it would be great to see as many teams out there as possible.
Is that going to be like a part of this year's tournament, like a special celebration or commemoration or something or other, or is that something else has been planned?
No, I think we'll try and look. It's the dinner show. We don't want to obviously steal their thunder, but we'll
Yep.
do. There's something I think Yoda's got something up his sleeve for the gala night, and just have something integrated into the program on the gala night. Again, it's a quiet achievement, I suppose. We don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all about the Savas. It's all about the people that have come before us and have done wonderful things and have this organisation going for 50 years and the 40 odd tournaments that we've had. So
Yeah, absolutely. Now, gentlemen, we've all been part of the Stavers at one time or another, part of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia. Steve, in fact, that's where me and you first met, and we've remained friends ever since. But Steve, you were one of those people that were heavily involved in working with the clubs leading up to the tournament, particularly in the football ops side of things.
Yeah.
And I guess for people that are tuning in and that aren't aware, just sort of explain, just even maybe a small fraction of what is involved, with the preparations and stuff.
There's no real method. It's just a method. The method is the madness when registrations close. It's about this stage now where you got 1 or 2 weeks left, where 98% of the years you'll have 4 or 5 clubs signed, and within a week you get 40 or 50 registrations coming in, and you're chasing, you're ringing up, you're having a meeting, and it's like you ring that club, you ring these 6 clubs, you ring these clubs. It's not a criticism at all. Some people say, yeah, wear this, wear that. We are, like Damage just said it brilliantly then, we are 50 years old. We've got nothing but pride in these tournaments. We are semi-professional and a lot of amateur-run clubs, and the fact that the clubs make the effort to come is just, it's fantastic. I was there for 18 years, but even then you're still in awe of the tournament. 50 years of this tournament. Poko and Mirko and all these men getting together, and now Damage, Yoda, we've all had the pride of carrying it on. And when we're gone, hopefully, and I don't see any reason, it's just going to go on and on and on. But to answer your question, there's nothing you can do but sit back. You just look, and then even when the registrations close, phone calls are on. So it's just a matter of you just get the templates in place, do the draw, put the groups. It's not rocket science. It's just a matter of waiting until you get all the registrations and entries.
I think, Tonch, from my perspective, it's only my second year now. So last year was my first year, and I somehow inherited Steve's role and got lumbered with the draws and everything else. And I think the biggest thing I found is almost a sense of complacency from our clubs where, it should be right. I've got too many other things to worry about.
Yeah.
I don't need to let Savas know. And then all of a sudden you go, well, hang on, why hasn't Club A nominated? And you pick up the phone and go, oh, shit, I thought Tom was doing it. No, Bill was meant to do it. No, we're definitely coming. And that's on one side. So you get a draw done, like I got stuck with the last year. You get a draw done, and then all of a sudden this one rings up, oh, we're not coming, and then this one rings up, and then we're not coming, and then on the Thursday, last year we had the unfortunate scenario where the Thursday morning of the tournament we had 2 teams pull out. So it's then a case of redoing draws again and making sure that everybody has as an enjoyable experience as possible. And so it's interesting, but it's also rewarding at times too. So all I can say, reiterate to our clubs out there, please get your nominations in ASAP so that we know where we are.
Yeah, we seem to be having some technical issues. Peter Finker says, hey guys, I don't think your Facebook Live is working, only YouTube. We're trying to rectify that, and I believe we may have sorted that out. But if for whatever reason Facebook might be playing funny buggers with the music that we played with the hymna at the start of the show, and maybe that's the reason. But if you can't get on Facebook, try and get on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. There's a whole heap of different platforms we do as well. Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we return, we're going to first we're going to have a little bit of a chat about Croatia at the Euros. There's a lot to chat about, and hopefully we might even be able to cross live to Zagreb and catch up with Ante Grabovac himself. Folks, don't go away. It's the OZCRO Soccer Show. All right, back we are. Damien, let's get your take on
Yep.
things. How did you see? Firstly, how did you see the game between Croatia and Spain?
Disappointing. I think is a second half the boys showed some fight. Dalic made some changes, but the penalty miss. The goal that led to the penalty. I just don't understand why Petkovic just didn't try and get it in somehow. It was an open goal.
Yeah,
Went back to the lottery of the penalty. We missed. You saw what happened with the encroachment. 3-1. You're -2 goals down in your goal difference. Can be pulled back -3. I just got a feeling that our could go down a goal difference and that could hurt us. So, look, I think Steve's mentioned it earlier. We've got Albania up next, must win for us, and then bring on Italy. But we'll just see. So it's a bit, I look at it, and one comment or a couple of comments. We've got a midfield that is lauded about with Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacevic, but they're 99 years old combined. Can you win a tournament with a 99-year-old midfield? Yes, there's experience there, but is there enough grunt in their legs? And this is one I suppose we can always debate and argue. Guardiola has done well for Manchester City at left back or right back, or wherever he played him, but he was basically the young player of the tournament in the last World Cup at centre back. So, would he be a greater asset to us playing centre back? Would the first goal have been conceded if he was playing at centre back? Would the second goal have been conceded?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think his best position is to play centre back for us, and I think we missed him a lot by him not being there on the weekend. Yes, we'll miss his marauding runs, down the flank and playing that overlapping sort of a player. But if you don't concede a goal, you can't lose a game. So I'd rather see us shore up the back a little bit more. And if it means moving him across back into that centre back position, that's what I'd be doing. But I'm not a coach and I'm not Dalic, so it's just an opinion.
Steve, what about you? How did you see that first up game? I mean, obviously there's a lot of negatives, but could we draw any positives from them?
Oh, there's a lot of positives. Like the Damage just said it perfectly. Who am I or who are we to question Dalic with his track record? But at the same time, he's going to be held accountable. I just see it as an experiment gone wrong. Guardiola, like Damage said, with his Batman mask was, one of the highlights of the World Cup. At centre half, and with all due respect to Šutal and Pongracic, they're not. Man City have got better centre halves than what we have, so they're not that. So Guardiola had to play there, and I'm 100% convinced, like Damage said, if he was there, just his experience for someone so young, Morata would not have walked through. Fabian Ruiz wouldn't have walked through. It would have been a lot more accountable. You can put someone else on the left back. If someone beats you at the left back position, they still got to cross the ball or beat someone else. They beat you in the middle. They just got the goal in front of them. So, unfortunately, I see it as an experiment gone wrong. Have we got it in us? Yeah, we have. And I think this is exactly what we needed to bring the mongrel out. Like Damage said, the midfield's probably a bit too old. I think we're going to mix it up in there a little bit. We've got the right combination, just the use. There's no need some of these other shows and websites and everything, drop this guy, drop that guy, drop this guy. You don't have to start flinging the team around. Just a little tweak here and there and bring it in. The boys will do the rest. They'll be absolutely livid with that result. And, it's still destiny's in our own hands. We beat Albania and Italy. We're through.
Yeah.
Now, I guess
we're through.
I guess, Damien, when it comes to motivation, there'll be no shortage of that. Firstly, I mean, against Albania, we want to beat them. There's enough Albanians in Zagreb selling, bullets and whatnot. So I'm sure.
Everything from Chivapa rolls to Gurb, so yeah.
Chivapa rolls and the wooden pegs too, Tonchi. If you ever run out of wooden pegs, go on the market.
I guess when it comes to the Italians as well.
No, you're right. And look, I suppose I'm lucky enough. My son's over there at the moment. He was at the Berlin game, and when I spoke to him, he said, the stadium that holds 75,000, 50,000 were Croatians. Like, it was just unbelievable. So I don't think they need any more motivation than the 100,000 Croatians that were in Berlin for that game. So, again, like I mentioned earlier, is that a bit of stage fright potentially? I don't know. Again, we're lucky we've got the boys, your Modric's and these more experienced blokes that are playing at Real Madrid that play big games every day of the week. So I think they're not overawed. I'm not sure about the others. The only thing I will say, I just don't know why we play at such a slow tempo at times. I mean, there was a couple of times there on Sunday or Sunday morning, Monday, whatever it was, where when we upped that tempo a little bit, Spain had no idea what we're doing. But then we seem to just go back and say, let's go back again. And we go back and we go back. We almost go back. I think there was a couple of times we've gone from a corner and it's ended up back at Livakovic's feet rather than just. So that's something that I don't understand. But when we played that up-tempo method, when we were down, Spain was really lost. But again, I'd rather lose the first game and then have it in your hands, like Steve has said, than lose the last game and be knocked out. So
very, very true. Now, folks, we're going to now we've discussed what we think, but let's go now live to Zagreb, Croatia, to find out what the mood is on the streets of the nation's capital, and we're going to cross over there now. And coming to us live from somewhere in Zagreb, we couldn't lose you. We couldn't get enough of you, up until now. Ante Grabovac, mate, you are in Zagreb. You're not in Sydney, correct?
Yeah, correct. I'm in Upper Town, Zagreb, not too far from Rudeš Stadium. Actually, I was about to cross from there, but I had to come to Teta Draga's lunch, so I couldn't make it to the stadium, unfortunately.
Hey, Ante, I was live from Livno. Are you G from Zagreb?
I'm G from Zagreb. That's right, exactly, Damien.
Ante, tell us what's the mood like after the first game in the nation's capital. Where did you end up watching it? Did you watch it on the Turgo or in some cafe?
Yeah, I did watch it on the Turgo. Us Aussies who are used to getting somewhere early, got to get used to this Croatian time because pretty much, we're down the front row with about half an hour to go, and then all of a sudden, everyone came out of their apartments and everything, and the Turgo was absolutely packed. They had some singers on before the game, so it was a good atmosphere. Obviously, when the hymn was played, everyone was standing up and videoing, and very patriotic. And then, obviously, disappointment. Some people actually left at halftime because in disgust and despair with the scoreline, and pretty much lost hope at that point in time. I mean, overall, people I've been listening to what you guys are saying, have got hope with these next two matches. Obviously, we've mentioned it a couple of times. We've never lost to Italy, so hopefully that run continues with the third game. And then Albania were pretty good against Italy. Obviously, they got the early lead, and then they came back to, lose the game 2-1. But I think they'll cause a few problems for us. But similar, I've read the things about maybe put Guardiola back in the middle, and Solskjaer out wide, and, whatever Dalic picks, I'm sure will be right. I think it was the first time since 2008 a team has actually outpossessed Spain in a match, and Spain still ended up winning because obviously that 16-year-old that was running up and down was unbelievable. I think I read a stat that Luka Modric had already played 16 matches for Croatia when he was born, that Yamal was born, which is an unbelievable statistic. Yeah. But yeah, the mood's good. The mood's positive, and people haven't lost hope yet.
What about going forward, the game against Albania?
Yeah, well, I think that, like you boys have been saying, I think we're a great hope. I think we're a great chance. Obviously, this is the one that you'd tick off as, your 3-point game. So hopefully we can replicate what we did last time where we started slow in the World Cup and then we came out all guns blazing against Canada and really, really piled on the pressure there. Obviously, even in the first match, although we lost the game on the scoreboard, we outpossessed Spain. And yes, there were moments whereby, we could have been better, but Budimir had a fantastic chance in the back post. He had that header just before they scored their first goal. We had Mayer had a sensational chance, and there was a little bit of a goalmouth scramble where, it was just amazing the ball didn't hit the back of the net. And then when the penalty was scored, everyone was going nuts, even though there were only 10 minutes to go. and I actually got some flare ashes on the back of my neck, and everyone was going crazy, and we still had hope at that particular point in time, but it wasn't to be, and obviously that goal was disallowed. But at least everyone had a chance to celebrate, right?
Yeah, that's true. Jens, have you got any more questions for Ante in Zagreb?
No, all good, mate. Enjoyed se kažu čuvaj se i sretno se nam vratio.
That's it, pamet u glavu.
Well, and I've been listening to some of the show, and so enjoy it. Keep up the great work, guys.
Oh, Ante, that's it now. Switch off from work mode and go to party mode. And if you do see Jure Dragovic somewhere over there, do say hello and tell him the same thing. Make sure he's not doing too much work and is enjoying a bit of a well-earned holiday in Croatia.
I will, and it's just fantastic around here. Obviously, the cafes are all alive with, they've all got the big screens up. I mean, whether you're on the Turk or whether you're up a bit further near Kalchicheva Ulica, it's just amazing. Like every cafe has got a screen. Everyone's into it. I was actually surrounded by a lot of English people for the England versus Serbia game, and obviously they were very happy with that result. And that was at an Irish pub, and outside the Irish pub, they had a massive screen, and so. The city's alive and everybody's talking Euros, and that's really, really good. And hopefully we do the job in the next 2 games.
Awesome, mate. Well, we'll leave you to it. And thank you very much for joining us all the way from Zagreb, Croatia.
Thanks, guys.
See Ante.
Good stuff. All right. That was Ante Grabovac in Zagreb, Croatia. And Damien, we bid you farewell. Thank you very much for joining us from the Gold Coast.
Tonji, before I go, can I just wish O'Connor Knights and Glenorchy Knights all the best. Australia Cup draw is tomorrow night at 7:00. Unfortunately, this year our Croatian clubs didn't do as well as we normally do, so we've only got 2 representatives in the last round of 32. So to O'Connor and Glenorchy, I hope you can draw well and get a couple of good home games and progress far.
I knew we forgot something, Steffa, and Damien reminded us, yes, tomorrow night is the draw of the FA Cup, and Glenorchy Knights and O'Connor Knights, they will be doing the Croatian community in Australia proud this year. Thanks, Damien. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure. Look after yourself. Škornjaka, čuvaj mi se.
Take care, Damage.
Cheers, boys.
Damage Brešić, always a pleasure to have him on the show, isn't it? Well, we've gone from Gold Coast. Well, we went to Adelaide, of course, with yourself, Steve. Then we went to the Gold Coast. Then we went to Zagreb. We are about to cross live to somewhere in Hamburg in Germany, and we will catch up with some family friends of yours, the Bekovac family from Adelaide. All right, we're going to take a short break, but this is a short snippet of some of the atmosphere that Carmen Bekovac has sent us, where they've just been part of the party atmosphere in Berlin. Take a load of this. This is absolutely fantastic, and it certainly will get you in the mood for tomorrow night's game. And straight after this, we'll be crossing live to Hamburg and catching up with the Bekovacs, Joe and Carmen and their kids.
Jedna dusza na swoje,
live all the way to Hamburg in Germany, and we've got the Bearcoverts family from Adelaide. Good evening or good afternoon, folks. How are we all? Can we hear you guys?
Can you hear us?
We can. We certainly can. How are you all?
Yeah, we're good. We're really good. It's been an awesome few days so far.
Now, Carmen, you're out of the screen. We can't hear you, but we can see that. Oh, there we are.
There we go.
How are we, folks? So great to see. Now, that was just one snippet of the atmosphere in Berlin to us. Joe, how was it? What was it like for you to take your wife and the kids and to experience it in the heart of Berlin?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. Can you hear it?
Sorry, we didn't hear that. Sorry, it's a bit.
It's a bit noisy here. We're in a cafe next to the train station. We are so.
I was going to say, what was the atmosphere like in Berlin? Like being in the midst of it, being right there. What was it like? How just explain what it was like.
What was it like?
Oh, it was magical. Even the day before the game was brilliant. Everyone was partying on as Croats do. They love to drink and just sing all the time. It was so.
Yeah, and I reckon half of Berlin were just Croats. They were everywhere. It was so good. Such a good feel.
Did you see anyone you knew from Australia from back home here?
We met up with a few Adelaide friends, but no, it was that crazy. There was that many Hrvati everywhere that it was hard to pinpoint anyone out. There was just masses of them. It was
Seen a couple of people from Sydney in a feature there, but it was just Croats in every cafe, every restaurant, every bar, everywhere. They were just all on the streets drinking, just celebrating.
Yeah.
Even before the game started. So
yeah.
But the kids will never forget that.
Oh.
Nah. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it was like so good.
Yeah. There was one.
Tiho, what did you most like about the trip so far?
What do you like so far?
I liked how when everyone was singing and then players started coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tihana, what about yourself? What's been your favourite thing so far from the trip?
Probably so everyone getting all the Russians getting together and partying, and just going, just partying, and it was so much fun because we've never experienced something like that before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Like the biggest crowds we've seen are just at Tawny and that. So this was a big eye opener for them.
Yeah, well, Carmen, speaking of the Tawny, compare it to the Tawny. Is it something like the Tawny on steroids? Is it just one massive Croatian soccer toy?
Yeah, it's Tawny on steroids, definitely. There was one moment where we're in the Crow Corner, so there was I can't remember the name of the clubs, but it was a Croatian party just before the game.
Yeah.
And I just looked around, I just started crying. I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've never experienced something like this before. So it was, yeah.
Joe,
I'm so glad the kids have seen it.
Yeah. Joe, now, mate, normally sort of, the wives give the husbands the green light to go with their mates to go to the tournament. You've taken the wife, you've taken the kids. Do you feel a bit different? Are there a lot of other families in there, or is it just a bloke fest?
It's mostly blokes, but there is the odd family here and there. They're the lucky ones, you see. I decided to bring them along with me.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the next 20 Father's Days, you are going to be spoiled absolutely rotten.
Sorry, what was that again? Missed that one.
For the next 20 Father's Days, you're going to be spoiled rotten by your wife and the kids because of this.
What? I hope so.
Steph, are you getting a little bit jealous like I am?
Always jealous, mate, but it's just great to see. It's still hard to believe you're over there, but we were actually at the Euros. We were in Zagreb when Spain and Croatia last played, so I can just picture. I can imagine what you went through, but 50,000 of the 70,000 in a stadium. What was that like? Did you guys actually go to the game?
We didn't go to the game. I was saying there was about 50,000 in the stadium, and there was about 50,000 outside the stadium
That's what
celebrating
I was
as well.
saying here.
So
They said
it's
for
just,
every person inside, there was 3 people outside. So they were saying for 50,000 in, there's probably 100,000 outside the stadium.
Yeah.
the fan zones that the UEFA have organised, it was just chock-a-block full of Croats.
So all the fans that didn't have tickets to the game, we all marched down to the fan fair all together, and that was epic.
What was that like for the kids marching down with the rest of the fans?
It was crazy. There were like so many people. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that many flares in a long time.
Yeah.
So
And what's next? Where to after Hamburg?
So we've got the game tomorrow. We got tickets for the game, so that'll be good. And then we're going down to Stuttgart to see some family, and I think we're going to go to back to Croatia to watch the Croatia-Italy game with all the family there.
Fantastic. Guys, have a great time. Thank you so much for joining us. We've had a little bit of technological issues, but nonetheless, it's great to get you guys all the way from Hamburg. And enjoy and make lots and lots of memories.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The Bekovats family, Carmen and Joe, and their kids, Tihana and Tihomir from Adelaide. What fantastic. And you know what? Like my wife, God bless her, gave me the green light and said, if you get tickets, go to Germany by all means. But I thought to myself, if you don't get tickets, what's the point? And now just tuning in to that and listening to them and saying, even if you don't get a ticket, you could go to the fan zone and soak up the atmosphere. And it's it just I had a couple of friends, Steve, that went with me to the 2006 World Cup in Germany, and I was there as a working journalist, so I had tickets, but they didn't, and they just came along and went to the fan zones and seemed to have probably more fun than I did, to be honest. But
yeah, we were same thing. We were in Euro. We went as a family the 2016 when Croatia played Spain. We watched it in the Tirgan. Unfortunately, we got a better result when we beat them 2-1 that time. And I think we played Czech. We were in Osijek for Czech. And then when we played Turkey, we were in Split watching it on the Riva there. So it's just like, my boy was almost 5 then, so he's forgotten most of it. But just the family, like you're saying, what the tournaments do to bring up, to bring us all together. But imagine that these kids now, Tiana and Tihomir, they're old enough to remember probably for a very long time. Imagine what it's going to do to them.
Yep.
They're just going to be in awe of everything there for years and years to come.
And if they do forget, they can always tune into the OZCRO Soccer Show replays on YouTube in years to come.
Oh, yeah. That'll be in their resume. Claim to fame.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, mate. Thank you for joining us. You'll be back next week, next Tuesday night, again in the co-host chair. I know they're big shoes to fill, Ante Grabovats's, but you've done a great job tonight. And once we get that polished chemistry happening next week, you won't want to leave. That's it. Once we start opening up with some stories how we did meet Tonchi, we're going to turn the crowd away. It's all PGR rated, folks, by the way. Has to be. Thank you very, very much for joining us on the OZCRO Soccer Show tonight, folks. We look forward to your company again next Tuesday night. And remember, tomorrow night, the special pre-Euro 2024 episode of Dinamo TV. It will be simulcast live right here on OZCRO Soccer Show Facebook and YouTube channels. Until then, Aimo Vatreni, good night. Lako noć.